In this video, we will talk about the step 3 for big data analysis. In a previous video, we learned about how can we reduce the big data into the small set. Because if we made a small set, we can get the hidden trace of each variable, right? So we can recognize the medium process clearly. For that, we made the sample video sets from the big data set, right? For that, we use the write and head function, and in step 2, we learned about the gsub function. With gsub function, we can replace the mapping or pattern strings or special characters into the familiar characters if I wanted, right? After that, in this video, we can continuously talk about sequence, str split function, and pipe operator, a list, transpose function T, and R bind. All right. So in conclusion, in step 3, we can separate data with one byte with gsub function and generate data frame with sequence, str split, pipe, a list, T, and R bind. All right, are you ready? Okay, go ahead. As you remember, when you check original codes, we can read the original data with the read-line function, right? And then if you use the gsub in a second comment, we replace this special character to this one because R can easily control 1 byte. So we replace from the 2 byte to 1 byte. Comfortably. It is not exact the explanation, but roughly you can understand it like that, all right? In this original data set. After that, if you assign a new result to the movies under the row variable, if you check under the 17 line with print function, you can recognize the movies under the row is composed of this special character, all right? Okay, let's do it together. If you use the getWD, of course, we can get the working directory path, right? And then you can do it in console. Of course, you can execute the proper line only in original source code, all right? Okay, so first, you can execute this line only with Control Enter of the keyboard shortcut, right? Okay. Okay, if you one more for that, okay. So when you check the console, RStudio executes this command, right? And then if you type this variable, yeah, you can check it. Before using gsub function, as you can see on the screen, the file is composed of this character, right? But if you comment this one, so you can block this comment, or you can just click this line and then you can run or Control Enter, right? So I press the Control Enter with my left finger and right finger. So the RStudio understood this comment successfully, and then if you test this variable, even though the variable name is the same, but the new latest data was copied, right? So the data was updated like that. So when you look at this, the special character 2 times of a colon was changed or replaced into this special character, right? So successfully we can check these 2 comments, right? So this is the same, these 2 comments, right? 16 and 17. Okay, so in this video, we only control 4 lines from 18 to 21. It is composed of repetition grammar with reserved word for, right? And when you look at the inside of the for grammar, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions and pipe operator, right? So reserved word. So around 6 reserved word as well as functions were included in for grammar. So maybe we will spend our time around 30 or 40 because even though the comment number is just 4, but as I mentioned a few minutes ago, there are many kinds of new functions as well as pipe operator. So if you are if we will be familiar with these grammar with functions, you can analyze your own data in future comfortably and efficiently. All right. So what is the function's name? First, the sequence, and second is str split. Third one is a list. All right. And first is transpose function T, and the last one is rbind. When you see the function's name, can you imagine the role of each function? For example, SEQ is abbreviation of sequence, right? So our studio can understand the repetition from 1 to these data lengths sequentially, right? So our studio can understand 18 comments. Oh, I should repeat from 1 to the end of this data length, right? So first we can check the length of a movie on the ballot, right? So before execute the for grammar wholly in our original code, you should check the small component in console first. It is very helpful to you because if we execute all lines of for grammar, we cannot track of the each variables the change. What is the change of in variable at this epoch? We don't know, right? So we can check it in console very freely and comfortably. It is one of the debugging methodology, and you can be efficient for the checking your error or the logical the process and so on. Okay, so I recommend first you decompose the whole for grammar comment into the small component, and then first you can check the hidden the change of data in console, right? So I wonder what is the result of length of movies underbar row. All right. Okay. Yeah. So around, around 4,000, right? So movies, the number of movies is around 4,000. So did you remember this figure? As I mentioned in our previous video, I talked about around 4,000 movies, right? A little different of the small number, but it doesn't matter. We will cover soon, so don't worry about it. Okay, so the length of movies data set is around 4,000. All right. So this grammar means our studio can repeat about 4,000 which lines about these two lines, because as I mentioned in our programming part, if you use the four reserved words, we can repeat under the for grammar with the indentation. All right. So the space of indentation about the tab side. All right. So please open your Word file, and then you can put the four reserved words in a reserved word part, and then you can put your explanation. For reserved words means the repetition about the several lines with indentation. All right. So indentation very important in programming language such as R, Python, and so on. So you should be careful about indentation. All right. So our studio can repeat two lines from 1 to the number of movies, total movies. All right. So that is the first explanation in this video. All right. So you can also add the sequence function in your Word file. Okay, and we can go to the next line. So when you check the next line, there is a new function also. The function's name is strSplit. When you check the function name, you can imagine, oh, we can split the string, right, with the regular patterns, right? So how can we know the regular pattern? Of course, if you check the input parameter inside of brace, we can check the pattern for split, right? Okay, so movies underbar row is the whole original data, right? But if you use the index, all right, index reserved word, and if you consider I index, as I mentioned, I can be changed from 1 to around 4,000, right? For the first time, I was assigned with just 1, right? So if you check the movies underbar row index number 1, you can check it here in console, movies, loads, and you can check just 1, right? So in this case, as we imagine the results, the first line of the original data was printed, right? So similar to person's thoughts, our studio can understand the each line with the step by step similar to the person, right? So our studio reads the just one first line of the original data, such as the movies underbar row, and our studio split with this pattern, right? So when you look at this pattern in the original data, the RStudio can split the three groups. 1, 2, 3, right? So the result of str split of movies on the row index 1 with these patterns, we can imagine, oh, RStudio can divide the movies on the row with the first sentence into the three groups. Please check your imagined in console. So I think you better decompose all comments and each comment all by yourself, and you can test in console with enough time. All right. So as I mentioned before, you can type str split function and you put the first index of original data, and you can put the pattern of your split. All right. And yeah, as we can imagine, if you test this component of the original comment, we can check the results similar to our thought, right? So if you enlarge the RStudio program, and then if you find your latest comment with the up direction, and then you can check it like that. So the reason why the result with the index just 1 and 3, because I made the screen size with the small one, so that is just the relative scale problem. So if you enlarge the RStudio and then if you check the latest comments similar to me, you can check this one. So when you check this object, can you explain what kind of data of the result when you use the str split? Yeah, did you remember this expression? That is list, right? So please use the summary function, all right? Summary function about this one. Yeah, that is the 3 lengths with the character, right? Oh, Professor, can I make a new variable for this comment? Yeah, of course. Temporarily, you can make your own variable at this epoch. It is up to you because console is just the test screen for your thought checking, right? So in my case, I made the temp variable here, all right? And then if I check here, of course, we can get the same result of this comment, right? And then I try to check this new variable with the summary function first. And then, as I recommend in a previous video, you can use the type of function for new variable here also, right? And then you can also use the str function lastly for the sophisticated information of your new variable, right? So please check the all results of new variable temp here, right? So the first result of summary function, the data length is 3 and the mode result is character, right? But when you use the type of the specific data structure is list, and when you check the str function of the new variable temp, even though the data structure is list, but the real data is character, And there are three characters that there: first data, and second data, and third data, right? So I recommend you frequently use the three functions, all right? Okay, so please capture this your exercise and paste your Word file, all right? Okay, so please open your Word file in your laptop or your desktop and then paste here, all right? Okay, and then you can add your explanation. For example, I tried to decompose my R code step by step and execute execute the first part for checking the hidden data, hidden temporal data in a new variable like that. For example, it is up to you about your sentence, all right? So my point is you better try to test your small components in console very frequently, all right? So it is very, very important, okay? So we can go to the next step. So if you test about this one, oh, this result is just list after str function, right? And then the list is composed of characters, right? And then if you transfer the result to a next function with this pipe operator, oh, as you can see on the screen, we can make vector data structure with on list, because when you look at the function name of on list, the on means is the negative meaning, right? So the opposite case of the list. So opposite case of list is vector, right? So we can make a vector about this result, all right? So we can first check together about this reserved word, that is the pipe operator. So pipe, when you imagine the pipe at your home, we can flow water in a pipe, right? So if we use the pipe in programming language, we can deliver the first function's result to the next function, and we can also deliver the result about this function to the next function like that. So that means pipe operator in R. All right. So we can make a vector here, so we can check it together in R Studio. All right. Okay. So after that, if you use the pipe function, right? Pipe function. Yeah. All list, right? But I think you used this grammar similarly, because even though we assigned the str split the result into a new variable temp, but the reserved word pipe can be connected between two functions normally, right? So I better use the split. Yeah, the latest command of split this one. And then if we use the pipe here, right? Wait for a moment. Okay, if you find the pipe comment, you better use the all right. So in this case, I think you can check this one, and then you can find the all right, sorry, because we did not think about the fixed and static index here, so you better put your index in comment, and then you can try to find the result here, right? So you can check it. So first you can check the result of temp. That is the result as I mentioned before. And then if you use the next comment, you can try to the dplyr first, then you can try, right? Sometimes according to the status of our studio and the memory of my computer, unexpected error can be occurred. So I recommend you freely and comfortably try to overcome unexpected status, because your status, your computer status and mine can be different, right? All right. So yeah. So the pipeline pipeline belongs to this package. I remembered I installed the PLYR a few minutes ago, but I'm not sure about the status of my computer. So in this case, freely you can install your dplyr package for the related with the string manipulation functions and reserved words. All right. So and then when you check the result about this and this, please compare. Yeah, as I mentioned, before using the pipe operator and all list, you can check the result is just list. But if you deliver your first result to the all list function with pipe operator, the result is the vector, right? So please check your result and the imagination in console with various cases. In my case, I wonder about the this result. Oh, so even though the pipe operator expects functions in a first operand part and second operand part, but we put the new variable with the result of str split function. So yeah, the R Studio can understand and returns the same result here, right? And if you put the medium result into the a new variable here, I also made a temp variable 2 here, and then I put the temp and the pipe operator and a list here. All right, and then I also try to use the summary function here for new variable temp2. All right, and we also try to type off with the variable temp2 here, right? And finally, I can also try to use the str function here, right? Yeah, so when you compare all results of the str split function only and the usage of a pipe operator with all lists after str splits, the different cases is the data structure transformed, right, from list to vector. So when you look at this, yeah, the first, yeah, so please copy and paste in your Word file. All right, so in my case I captured from the length to the str function case. All right, so I put here, and I also try to capture the next step. With the program. All right, so even though I try to test of the pipe operator here, but maybe the package, the string manipulations was not installed well, so I tried to install the dplyr packages. All right, so please install dplyr package if you cannot use the pipe operator smoothly, similar to me. Sometimes our studio shows the successful installation in console, but according to the network or memory status of the unexpected events, the successful installations was not occurred, right? So please try to check your package for the specific function, or you can check your successful packages here. So when you check the right side, you can check the package menu. So if you click here, yeah, so if you successfully installed the special package, they shows the check the left side of the package name. So when you look at this, dplyr is for the data manipulation. the string manipulation. So please click dplyr package and please read and check the all related functions and operator. All right. Okay. So many functions are existed in dplyr. All right. dplyr package. All right. Okay. So this is very important concept here. All right. So don't worry about it because whenever we run the enough exercises for big data analysis, dplyr package normally was used for that. So maybe we can touch or use a few functions for dplyr package. All right. Okay, it's good. So please put your or Tracy's console too, similar to me. All right. So for example, in my case, I installed dplyr packages or more, and then I check the result here successfully. So I can't put all cases. And if you try to your own variable in console, you can reduce the typing time for your whole comment. Of course, we can use the objections in keyword for finding your past comment, but sometimes we should type new comment flexibly, right? So if you use your own new variable name, you can save your time freely, right? Okay, so I recommend it, right? So please compare your case here. All right. Okay, we can go ahead. So please refer your all cases based on your expectation. All right. So before test your thought in console, first imagine your expected answer, and then verify your answer with the result of console. All right. Okay. So in March, we learned about the R grammar, such as the reserved word, functions, variable, data package, as I mentioned. But from April, from previous week, we started to learn big data slowly, right? So we better use the special packages as well as functions for big data analysis. So naturally, we should focus on functions for the big data analysis. One of them is a string manipulation. String, all right? String manipulation. So what is a string manipulation? So when you crawl or collect big data in your laptop, most big data is composed of string as well as integer values, right? So we can manipulate your text string as well as numeric numbers, right? So how can we manipulate the string? For that, as I already mentioned, the dplyr, dplyr R package is very famous and common for that. So when you look at the shape of this tool, we can control the many kinds of the elements with this the sharp part, right? So we can make our own the results with this tool, right? So this tool is famous for expressing TP, LYR package. So we can analyze our big data with this package for summarizing, mutating, selection, as well as filtering. All right. Okay. So if you click the plus menu in string manipulations, most strings can be touched with enough functions. One of them is gsub. We already learned about gsub function, right? So how can use the gsub? Gsub function replace all matches of a string if the parameter is a string vector. Return just string vector 2 of the same length and with the same attribute. Elements of string vectors which were not substituted will be returned unchanged, right? So we already experienced the result of Gzip function. So even though my tests in consoles are not related with the original data sets of movies.dat, but sometimes you can spend your enough time in console for testing the special function as well as the reserved word because it is very helpful to you. All right. So when you check the definition of the Gzip function, first parameter is pattern. All right. And second is replacement. We already used the gsub with the 2 and single equal, right? In movies.data, right? And we can additionally consider another parameter for gsub, but it is up to you. So you don't need to use all parameter cases of each function because there are many kinds of functions and unlimited packages as well as parameter per each function. So I recommend whenever you try to solve your own problem with the special packages with function, at this epoch, you try to select the proper number of parameters and the usages, all right? Anyway, when you use the gsub, the first and second and third parameters are necessary, mandatory part because if you want to replace the first element to the second element in data set, right? So pattern parameter is for string to be matched. The second replacement is string for replacement. And the third is string or string vector. In our case, we put the data set, right? With the file name, right? And you can try to the toy example for gsub in console with enough time. For example, if you made the original X variable with big data analysis data, and if you want to replace big with big in original X, the result is big data analysis, right? Yeah, it is very natural result, I think. And if you try to this, the interpreter languages such as R and Python are very sensitive for capital and lowercase. So case insensitive, right? Yeah. So case sensitive, sorry. So the R Studio cannot find the small b the lowercase b in original x variable, right? The result is unchanged, right? Okay. How about the this case? We already tried it, so it is same result of the first comment. How about the this result? Even though we try to replace from the capital big to big, but the original variable or the string is not changed because the RStudio controls the Gzip function for reference case. It's not call value, but the call reference. So that is the additional information of the function usage. So maybe we can touch the function part as your edge class in future. So I will repeat the information at that time. But my point, even though you try to replace the original string with the special patterns, but the original data was not changed because RStudio copy the original data into the new hidden variable, and then they replaced the hidden variable data temporarily, so original x was not changed, right? So you can check this part all by yourself, all right? So this one, even though you try to change the big in original x with gsub function, but that can be shown in temporal the data with the hidden variable in RStudio, so the original x was not changed here. So it is very important and a little complicated part, but if you test many times, you can be familiar with that, all right? And if you put the ignore that case parameter for the first place of gsub, as you can imagine the parameter name, the case such as the capital or lower case can be ignored, right? Because we put the true setting, right? So in this case, even though we put the small b in gsub, but the result can be changed from big to the big, all right? All right. But we did not put the ignore case here, right? So you can compare this case and this case here, right? The default value is the ignore that case equal to false, right? So the result was not changed, but if you use the ignore case parameter with true, the result was changed based on our expectation, right? All right, and if you assigned the string vector into the variable x6, you can check the all result, and if you try to the coding part with the tutorial in x6 variable with this comment, if you check the result, the string was changed from coding to tutorial, right? So please take a photo these slides with your cell phone and frequently check your photo album every day, because the Gzip function is very famous and you should be familiar with them, all right? Okay. And how about this? If you use the regular expression syntax in gsub, we can replace the original part with the new element here. So in R Studio, // d plus equal to the digit. All right. So if you consider this string with the variable x1, we want to change the digits with the 3 times of pa, right? So the 1100 was changed with these special characters here, and the remaining parts are same from original sentence to new one, right? How about this one? There are many the digits in x3, right? So all cases was changed from digits to the the 3 times of underbar, right? How about lower the square blanket with one column door with closing them? That is the lowercase letters in current locate, right? So if you consider x3 with gsub, all the lower cases strings changes with the underbar, right? So L was changed just to one underbar. So 1, 2, 3, 4 characters here. So the 4 times of underbars was changed, right? So similar to the remaining the exercises in console, you can check your result very quickly. All right? Okay. So you can check your all results and copy and paste your Word file. All right? And then you can also put your explanation simply and free format. All right? Okay. So there are many kinds of regular expression syntax in R. So if you met the syntax of the reserved word in R, that is the meaning of this description. So you should know it and you can refer for your own problem. All right. And the second is the sequence function. So sequence function belongs to selected functions list. So different from the gsub in string manipulation, you should know the selected functions list. There are unlimited functions in this category, right? So when you click this part, you can check this sequence function here. All right. So you can check the all functions. Okay. So as I mentioned in original code, sequence function generator sequence of numbers, right? So you can think the sequence functions result from the first parameter to the second parameter. All right. So if you call the sequence function with these two parameters, the result can be generated from the first parameter to the second parameter. If you use the third parameter with the parameter name is by, the interval is number 2, right? And if you use the float, the value for the third parameter, of course, RStudio can't generate per each this float number. And we can also cut the maximum number of lengths of the sequence function with length that's out parameter with special numbers. So we can control and change this value freely. And of course, we can't use the single parameter with the sequence function. So similar to the vector function, we can generate the series of numbers very quickly. All right. And then if you use the is that vector for the previous variable x4, we can check the result of the is that vector function. All right. Okay. So in this video, we talk about the gsub review and sequence function, right? We also roughly check about the str split, pipe operator, and the all list functions. So in the next video, similar to this video clip, we can review the str split, pipe operator as well as a list with enough exercises in console. All right, so please review your all cases in console with enough time and copy and paste your all traces in Word file. All right, thank you so much. See you next video clip. Bye bye.